Have you guys ever had your friends over and they happen to be a vegetarian and you're cooking meat? Or maybe you just had way too much meat in your life and you're looking for another recipe to cook over the fire. This one is a winner. I actually learned it from Francis Malman when I was in Uruguay. It's so simple. I cannot believe I've never thought of it before, and that is actually an eggplant parmigiana. You want to make sure that you've prepared your fire plenty ahead of time. So I've had this fire burning now for about an hour, and the idea is that we really want to get some nice hot coals to grill our eggplant in, and we're going to be blistering the eggplant. That our skin is going to act as a protectant from the beautiful flesh that's within this eggplant, and so the idea is that the flesh becomes the meat. So what we're going to do is we're just going to pop our eggplants straight into the coal of our fire here, and I'm just going to break this little guy up a little bit. So you can see all those lovely coals that have been built. I've had this fire burning for a solid 1 to 2 hours now, and we want to blister our eggplant. We don't want it directly in the flame, because if we have it directly in the flame, it's actually going to catch on fire and incinerate, essentially just like a log of wood. But the coals are going to make it go low and slow, and what they're also going to do is they're going to it's going to get this incredibly intense smoky flavor. It's amazing, and I wish you guys could taste through the cameras, but sadly they haven't invented that yet. About 15 minutes per each side, and the idea is that it's going to blister on the outside and basically just start to deflate as all that water starts to break down and poach our inside of our eggplant. So our eggplant have been on the coals for about half an hour now, and I've only really rotated them once. And the way you tell that they're done, you can just see that the skin is starting to lift off from the flesh. So it's getting like really nice and soft. You can feel that it's just all breaking down inside there, which is what we want. And I'm just going to put them up on top of the grill plate now, and that's just going to give them a bit of time to rest, and for it to cool and for it to sweat inside of the skin. I'd probably give it a half an hour up there before using it. So I'm just going to raise this asado plate right up. In another half an hour's time, we should be ready to peel it back and start frying. All right, so our eggplant is ready for its second cook now. And what we're looking for is that we can touch it with our bare hands. It's still a little warm and it's had time to steam. And what that's going to do is it's going to basically make the skin really easy to peel off, because it's just come away from the flesh. And by giving it that time to just rest, and like I said, steam, it's just going to make it that much easier to handle and for the actual skin to pull away nice and easily without taking too much of our flesh. So you're just going to gently pry the skin off. You don't want the skin because it's going to be too tough to eat, and it's going to be a little bit too bitter as well. So we're just going to remove that. We want to keep our little stalk on, because that's going to help keep our eggplant all in shape. And that is going to be our parmy, which is our meat, essentially. So you want to do that to all 3 of your eggplant, or however many you're cooking for your friends. The other fun thing you could do is cook a few extra eggplant and make a little bit of baba ganoush. And if you don't know what baba ganoush is, it's basically like a dip. And you could serve some baba ganoush actually with this eggplant parmy, and it would be bloody delicious. And the benefit of cooking your eggplant on the coals like this with your baba ganoush obviously is going to make it extra smoky. So I've got a nice hot frying pan here that I've filled with some ghee. You don't have to use ghee. You could use like extra virgin olive oil or avocado oil to fry your eggplant parmy in, but ghee just gives it that another level of like flavor profile that can have like that lovely buttery rich flavor. I've peeled back my eggplants now. I'm going to cook it in this little contraption behind me, which is in South America they call horno. which is like a pizza oven more or less. Now you could just do this directly over the fire if you have like a grill plate, or you could also take it inside and cook this part over gas or an electric stovetop. But you want to make sure that your frying pan's going to get really hot because we want to fry our eggplant, so on our second cook. So I'm going to pop it in my Orno, and you're probably thinking, why am I using the Orno? It's just got this beautiful residual heat, and so we're going to be frying our eggplant both sides, but it's just another way of adding extra smoke into our dish and making sure that it's going to get that lovely golden crumb, which is what we are after. So you want to make sure that you preheat your oil that you're frying your eggplant in, otherwise it's going to absorb all of that oil and it's not going to fry it, which is not a good thing. So I'm going to do a very basic egg wash. So I've got some milk in here and 2 eggs. I think there's about a cup of milk in there. We're just going to mix this through. You want a nice shallow pan to do your egg wash in because obviously your eggplant's like quite large. So we're just going to dip our eggplant into our egg wash, and it's okay. This is going to expand as we do this just because of the nature of the eggplant, and it's going to make it flatten out and get a little bigger. So we're going to do our flour, and then we're going to dip it back into our egg wash like so. Then we're going to go to our panko breadcrumbs. My good friend Chad was just telling me that sometimes he does a mixture of panko and Italian breadcrumbs. So you can experiment with that if you want to. You can make your own breadcrumbs with some leftover sourdough. It would be so good. We're just going to make sure we get as much breadcrumb on our eggplant as we can. As you can see, it almost doubles in size. Isn't that wild? We want to make sure our frying pan is really nice and hot, and the way you can test that is just by putting a little bit in there. It's getting a sizzle. That's what we want. Like I said, keep the stalk on. It's going to help keep the shape of our eggplant, and then I'm going to pop it back in here to fry away. Not fly away, fry away. Oh yeah, that was lame. Come fry with me. This is going to take a good like 5 minutes or so each side of your eggplant. You really want to make sure it gets all that lovely golden color and all of that panko breadcrumbs gets crispy and delicious. All right, let's do another one while that's frying away. I'm hearing it bubble. So our eggplant has fully gotten all this beautiful golden color and it's cooked. And I'm just going to pop it onto some paper towel, simply just to drain off any of that excess butter that's on there that I don't want drowning on my plate. And I'm going to pop my frying pan back in to get nice and hot so I can add in my other eggplant parmy. You want to make sure that you heat your pan back up to temperature before dropping one in again, because if you have just cooked something in there, obviously it's taken all of the heat out of the pan, and so if you're going to do multiple cook-offs, you need to make sure you bring the temperature of that pan back up again, or you'll run into that problem where it will just become soggy and it won't get crispy like our beautiful Parmesan is right now. So I've just given it a little bit of love on some paper towel. So you can see it's like holding its shape really nicely. It presents so beautifully on a plate as well. And what I'm going to add onto my eggplant parmy, you can do a number of different sauces. Like I said, you could do a baba ganoush, you could do a chimichurri. You could take this in a few directions. I'm going to add a little bit of red sauce onto it and a little bit of pecorino. So I'm just going to pop a little bit of red sauce on top of my eggplant parmy. And then I'm going to grate. Let it rain, baby. Let it rain. I'm always the more the merrier. Oh, that looks so bloody fantastic. And then of course, just a little extra sea salt. And I'm just going to pop this back into my Orno to get a little bit of heat on it. Check my frying pan. Top it up with some ghee. Oh yeah. That looks killer. So here we have a eggplant parmigiana, completely vegetarian for all your friends that don't like too much meat. Or perhaps you just need a break, which is fine. Meatless Monday. Oh, can you hear that? Can you hear that crunch? Holy heck. You know, I might even like this better than a chicken schnitzel. This is a big thing coming from an Australian. Make sure you guys give this a try. Make sure you subscribe to my channel. Hit the bell button so you know when a next killer recipe like this comes out. And leave me a comment below on anything that you would love to learn from me, any tips or tricks or recipes or destinations that you want me to go. As always, keep it wild.